tonight. Hey! Oh! Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Alex Theatre. You're expecting that dickhead Chris. No, this is the other dickhead, Shagger Malone. And he's gonna play some Frank Zappa bullshit for you. It's gonna be beautiful. Oh! Why does it hurt when I pee? Why does it hurt when I pee? I don't want no COVID to come over me. Why does it hurt when I pee? I caught it from the toilet seat. Caught it from the toilet seat. Got tied up and grabbed my meat. Caught it from the toilet seat. Oh, hello everyone. Hey, there we go. Hello Tim, how are you tonight out the back there? Hey, this is fairly dramatic for a dramatic kind of week. Hey, oh, it's so dramatic. My sunglasses are all steamy. Oh, they're so steamy. It's so hot. I could cook something in my pants. Anyway, there we go. Now, I am doing a Facechook live here tonight at the Alex Theatre. Lots of wonderful things are happening here in the Alex Theatre. And this is not one of them. Here we go. And what goes on, I am doing this on one of the toughest weeks Melbourne has ever had, okay? The Grim Reaper has come in and we're all locked down for 6 weeks, okay? What are we going to do for 6 weeks? We're going to do stuff like this. We're going to have fun. We're going to do other things. We're going to do new things. All sorts of new stuff, okay? And what's going on with this is that I'm going to show you a bit of new stuff, right? But from one great composer, Frank Vincent Zappa, okay? And I'm going to play a piece of music that I love playing. I haven't played it for a little while, but I'm going to play it now. And it's called The Black Plague. That's a bit of a dumb joke, but anyway, I think it's apt. And what goes on is we've got lots of polyrhythms and lots of other things, but it's time to learn how to do it. You've got plenty of time, okay? So here we go. Hey. Ah. Yeah. Oh, dramatic. Hey. Man. Yeah. Oh, dramatic. Whoa, that's Terry Bozzio from 1976 doing things like this. And what goes on with that is there's a lot of different little polyrhythms and all sorts of things you can do with this thing. And what Zappa used to love doing was pushing and pulling all his stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go all ambient on you. Can you still hear the whispers? I'll take that out now. And then what's going to go on? Mallets again. Ambience. One of the things you want to be able to do, seeing this is a drum tip show after all, is take some contrasting things like double bass drum and make it soft. Bring it into mallets. Oh, very nice. This is the same piece. Oh, 5/4 there. I'll stop there and explain a few things. What we've got is polyrhythms and polymetrics, which is something that happens a lot with Frank Zappa's music, you see. And nothing is more apt than what we're going through now. It's complex, it's difficult, it's everything that goes with it. I'm just expressing this as music, you see. And what goes on? You get a 5 and a 5 and a 6, but all over a crotchet triplet, okay? Now I'm a bit all over the place. What happens is you have a 3 against 2. Nice cup of tea. Nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea. How's that cup of tea, Tim? Nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea. And what that is also known in flamenco music as a hemiola. Okay, the hemiola from Española sounds like something you need a cream for. And then what happens is when you're actually doing the 3, inside the 3, you put a 5, 5, and then a 6. It's called a nested polyrhythm. Okay, so that's what goes on there. And that is a recurring theme in the Black Plague. Okay, so that's what happens. The Black Plague #1. There we go. Not so much the easy Teenage New York version. Okay, so which is off of Frank Zappa in New York, 1976, you see. So what happens, when he did Make a Jazz Noise here, he did the ambient version, the new age version. And this is what I'm sort of doing now. You can do lots of things with it. You see? Ooh. Scary. There it is. I'll stop there for now, and I'll explain a couple of things. Okay, there you go. Now this is a weird-ass show, isn't it? I thought I'd ham it up a little bit. It needs it. This kind of week needs a bit of hamming up. Okay, so what happens is that what we're doing here is Frank Zappa's Black Page #1, okay? So what better piece to study while you've got 6 weeks to study it? Okay, that's what I'm alluding to. That's why I'm like this. Okay, so what's going on is this is very atmospheric when you decide to get into the, how would I put it? The ambient nature of the thing, okay? And I'll put, there's that, ooh. Now, does this not sound a little bit more like a soundtrack? And this is why I'm leading into this business here. Oh, what we have is a bit of a dodgy week, especially when we're talking about the 6th of July. We lost 2 greats in one day. Ennio Morricone. Okay. God bless his little socks. What a great life he had. Anyone who could make it past about 85 or 86, or that matter, Tim's age over there, is doing pretty well. Oh! Just made it bloody MA there, mate. Anyway. And we also lost dear Joe Porcaro, who begat, not only is a fantastic drummer himself, but he begat an incredibly talented family that basically made up most of Toto, okay? I guess we're not in Kansas anymore. So what happens is that I'm going to talk about Ennio Morricone and Joe Porcaro. God bless their little socks. They have both had great lives. So you celebrate lives like that. That's what goes on. So let me talk about Ennio Morricone. Okay. My glasses are all foggy after all that stuff. Ennio Morricone, 10th of November 1928 to 6th of July 2020, was an Italian composer, orchestrator, conductor, and trumpet player who wrote music in a wide range of styles. Morricone composed over 400 scores for cinema and television, as well as my glasses fogging up like crazy. Hang on a second. Hey, and his most iconic track is the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the mediocre. Anyway, but what goes on here is that made it to the Grammy Hall of Fame. I do believe that when he got his Academy Award, it was the man himself, Clint Eastwood, who presented it to him. I could be wrong, but anyway, that's what goes on there. And his film credits are just extensive, you know. We've got Fistful of Dollars, Good, Bad and the Ugly. We've got Cinema Paradiso, Battle of Algiers. We've got The Mission. We've got so many things. Unbelievable, unbelievable. He just worked. He didn't give up. He just kept on going. And that's what we're going to do, isn't it? Yes. So that's what this is all about. You can be a complete dickhead on things like this and all that, but look what happens. Look what being a dickhead gets you. Anyway, that's Shagger Malone's philosophy anyway. Joe Porcaro, April 29, 1930 to July 6, same date, 2020. They both went on the same day. I think the day before we got locked down. Basically, Porcaro recorded, check out these names: Natalie Cole, Don Ellis, Stan Getz, Fred. I love Don Ellis. A lot of you guys and gals don't know him. He's great. He played in the craziest of odd times. Unbelievable. Freddie Hubbard, Gladys Knight, Madonna, The Monkees. Last train to Queensland, as if I just read the paper this afternoon. And Jerry Mulligan, Pink Floyd, hello. Howard Roberts, Frank Sinatra. Start spreading the news, hey? Nancy Sinatra, these boots were made for walking. And Sarah Vaughan, he performed film scores with James Newton Howard, John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, James Horner. Oh my God, the list goes on. And he died aged 90. He really kicked a few goals, this guy. And one of the things about this is that when I'm dealing with talking about people of that caliber, how do you think they got there? They just worked. They put their study in. They love what they did. All adversities. What they do is take iconic themes, you know, and be able to juxtapose. I always love it when I can say that word. Juxtapose different themes over some other kind of beat, you see. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm tired of 4. Pick a number, Tim. 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. And why aren't I saying Gina, la, la, Brigida, Gina, la, Brigida? It's live. Woo! Got out of that. Maybe I didn't. Anyway, so what happens is that when we're dealing with people, like, I've brought up Frank Zappa because he was funny. He went to his grave being funny, right? When the Grim Reaper took him, all that sort of stuff. He was still putting out songs like, "Why does it hurt when I pee?" and all this sort of business, you know, that kind of thing. When Ennio went off to the great movie soundtrack in the sky, he was just surrounded with beautiful people, you know, sort of thing, just an icon. Joe Porcaro, you know, sort of thing. Toto! Everybody there. I'm not going to play the Rosanna Shuffle. Not tonight. I did that last year. But what goes on? What happens is that they became free-flowing with what they could do. They would take themes like, that's called a retrograde, okay? When you're doing movie soundtracks, you're not continually writing new stuff. Everybody has a theme, okay? So the good, the bad, the ugly, each had a theme, you know, that kind of thing. And what would happen is that you take that theme and juxtapose it against the other theme, you know. So when we're dealing with, let me see. That might be that. This is something I did last week. Remember? I did... Keep the theme going. Now for this, you need to sort of be able to count and speak. One of the things that is I often talk about sometimes is a clear air flow and all that. And there's a technique out there that would be used a lot in this beautiful theatre for actors and all sorts of different people, is the Alexander technique. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Please look it up. This is what this show is all about, besides dickheadedness and all this sort of stuff. And what happens... Geez, I didn't even get that right tonight. But what goes on is that when you're actually dealing with things like having to play something like the Black Page, Jim Chapin, the very famous drummer, talked about things like coordinated independence. And then you'd get into things like the Black Page, and then to be polyrhythmic in the sense that you'd have one kind of rhythm getting played against another one. But on top of all that, there'd be, especially in movies, you'd have dialogue, you'd have drama. We need to see the drama. That's why I got the drama. So I often do things. A couple of weeks ago when we all were saving Channel 31 and Australian Community TV, I did a little poem. I did Dylan Thomas. And again, thank you for helping. We're here. This will go to air in a week or two. And there you have it. So here's another little bit of poetry, which is kind of sort of applicable to our current time, because you have to laugh. And it's applicable to our age. My nookie days are over. My pilot light is out. What used to be my sex appeal is now my water spout. Time was when of its own accord from my trousers it would spring, but now I got a full-time job to find the blessed thing. Dramatic. It used to be embarrassing the way it would behave, for every single morning it would stand and watch me shave. As my old approach, I'll say that again, as my old age approaches, it sure gives me the blues to see it hang its little head and watch me tie its shoes. Did you like that? Was that okay? Anyway, I went a little blue then. And what goes on is that with things like this, you want to be able to breathe. It's good to breathe. I breathe another day, but it's good to actually try and just be fluid. What's another Frank Zappa? He's fluid, just like Jeff Beck. That's Punky's Whips. That's also off Zappa in New York. And what we've got now is a time where you need to be in a fluid and work in a fluid situation. How was that for a throw? And what goes on is what you need to really do. I'm sort of saying what you need to do. I'm saying it's that suggestions full of love and all that. But if you've got your downtime, time to actually do that thing you've never done before, like learn a piece of music like that, step by step. Learn to take a new technique and do it with something else, you know. Go out and borrow a cape from Jay Whitefeather. How you going, Steph? How's that for a plug? And dedicate the show to people like Ali Lee and Pooch Marley and Pedge and a little clan, and you stick together thick and thin. You just stick together, that's what you do. And also when you have beautiful family that might be doing it a bit tough right now, always stay with them. Keep them close. And the idea of it is while you're doing all this stuff, create a soundtrack for your own life, you know. Do what Ennio did, just keep working. Now, this is very esoteric, isn't it? I'll go back to being straight next week. Maybe I won't. But what goes on is, see this little thing here? Double paradiddle. Right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. Got a theme right there. Boodly-day, wa-da-da. Boodly-day, wa-da-da. Boodly-day, wa-da. There you have it, you see. Oh! So, what's this show all about? It's not about poetry tonight. We've got The Black Page, #1 by Frank Zappa, okay? That is full of polyrhythmic and polymetric business, and really, you really have to sit down and work out what's going on. When you are just listening to it on first listen, it's just crazy. But the one thing that you hear is Terry Bozzio's hi-hat. The hi-hat, you see. Oh, I love the hi-hat. Oh. 5, 5, 6. It's the center, you see. Now, if I just did this, that's humor. It's humorous, but doesn't end up being too much at all. But if you get that. All of a sudden, something's happening there. Now, one of the things that happens a lot in Ennio Morricone's music, and Joe Porcaro would probably have to play some of that, is to be able to think in terms of a piece of music where it's not exactly the rhythm that you're after, it's actually the melodic pattern, you see. So that's what goes on in here. There's a whole thing about this on the YouTubes. David Dockery is an Irish drummer, and he does things like drumming along to the rock, so you can smell what he's cooking. You see, so what happens is some kind some of the things that Ennio Morricone did, a bit scatterbrained, but I'm back to him, is the fact that during the 70s, he was actually quite into free jazz and the avant-garde. He was a trumpet player after all. So, what you could do is just try and play what you're saying. If you've got a melody, this is prog rock in spades. Do you see what I mean? That's what Frank Zappa used to do all the time. You see, so what happens is when you've got plenty of time to sit down, these are the times when you can do anything you want. I always had a bit of a thing with drumming and music in general and all that sort of stuff. And I'm loath to bring up dollars and cents. But if you're going to do something for the love of it, meaning perhaps free, you have carte blanche to do whatever you want. You see, so what happens is that can be, as a finishing thing for tonight, that can be your new start. The world is going through a reset. We've pressed the reset button, you know, that kind of thing. And what's going to go on now is that we're all going to have to stick together and reset our buttons to find a new way to punch through. And that's what this is all about, okay? So I'm going to love and leave you now. And what happens, I hope you enjoyed this crazy, weird-ass show tonight. But what's going on is that one of the things that you want to be able to do is just find a way through. And I hope this is the start to it. Anyway, hey, give me a second. I'm out of here. My name is Shagger Malone. And here we go. Hey, oh, hey. Hey. I hope you liked what we did. Hey! See you next week. Oh boy. Where's that beer? I didn't even mention beer once.